Alright everybody, this is Derek with Firehouse Bowfishing. So today I've got a Cajun Winch Pro reel with me, and it's springtime frame. We're getting ready to start the guiding season off, so I'm doing my yearly maintenance, going through and checking all the reels, making sure they're good to go. So I figured I would film a complete teardown of the Winch Pro reel and try to answer a bunch of questions that I get constantly throughout the year on these. I still like running these. I think they're good reels for what I do in the guiding world. I know a lot of people have issues with them and hate on them, but I think one of the main issues that people have with the Cajun reel is when they break, there's no information on how to fix them, how to put them back together. So I'm going to tear this thing completely down. This is going to be a little bit of a lengthy video, but if you ever have any questions on how this reel works, stick with it, watch the whole thing. I'm going to try my best to explain. If you have questions, comment, and I'll try to follow up and answer those. But this one I've already checked, it's good to go. This typical, just button push down, opens the bail, your line comes out, click it over, you reel in. So one of the first problems that I notice with these reels that people have is the line will come out right here on the bottom. So they'll be reeling in and the line will shoot out the bottom. And that's caused between one of two things. Either you got a whole bunch of line twist and it's just happened to catch between your roller on the bottom and where it feeds into the bottle itself, or your bottle has gotten bumped and it's gotten off track. So how you fix that is, if you look right here, there's two screws, two on each side. The two at the very back, if you loosen those up just a little bit, the entire bottle will rotate up and down slightly. It's only like maybe a 1/16 of an inch. And I'll try to get it on camera where you can see, but goes up and down, up and down. So the fully up position, or it is right there, if I go try to reel a line in, I can feel it catching, and what it's doing is this plastic piece right here is catching and rubbing against the roller. The correct position to seat these in is the fully back position, so I want to tilt it all the way down, and then I can actually lock that in place with the screwdriver, and it will hold. It's pretty common for these things when they get thrown around or tossed in the bow walker to get bumped and you not realize it until you start trying to reel something in. With it all the way in the down position, you should be able to free roll it back in and not have any line shooting out the bottom. Another thing is sometimes if you get too much line in there with your line twist, it'll start jamming up, shoot on the bottom. But that's basically how you take care of that step. For maintenance purposes, I usually take my bottles off. So if you push your button down, you can unscrew your bottle. Rope all line comes off, you set that aside, you don't really need that. To start off with, the brake, I take the brake off to get to my problems or to look at things. Small Allen key, one on each side. Take these two screws off. One of the big problems that I always hear about is the push down button. It won't stay engaged. Doesn't matter. So you go push down and it fires back up. Push down, fires back up. It won't actually lock into place like this one's doing right here. And that's the first thing once we open this thing up, is I'm going to teach you what causes that, what to look for, how to fix it. So these two screws like this come off, and now our whole like secondary brake system comes off. These don't really have very many problems. The biggest thing to watch out for with the brake is these two screws will come loose over time and fall out, and you won't realize it. You'll have one left. That's kind of the common theme with all this parts on the Cajun, the Winch Pro reel. Those aren't as bad. These set screws, there's 4 on this side, and then you get 2 on this side. As you can see, I'm missing 2. They go into a metal housing in here, so if you want to, you can Loctite them. I never do. I just replace them and try to make sure I wash them tight. Like these 2 are missing, but the reel stays on there. But this is like one of the most common parts you're going to lose, is these 4 screws, and then the 2 on their side constantly fall out. But in order to get access to the actual reel in here, you need to pop these 4 screws off. So we're going to take those off, and I'll kind of show you what this looks like in here. Okay, once you get all 4 of those off, this just lifts up out of the way. You sit it down the side. So when you spin the handle over here, it engages this rubber roller, and this little metal paw is where your trigger to hold your barrel open comes into play. So when you push up against it, it locks onto that little half U shaped notch, and it allows it to stay open. Then whenever you go to click the reel around, these little tabs on the rubber roller knock it off with the spring, close the bail, and allow you to engage the clutch so you can reel back in. If you need to replace this, it takes a very small Allen key. Basically you unscrew that, and it has a tiny little flat head in here with a spring. Usually the spring's good. Usually you don't have to replace those. Sometimes they'll start walking themselves in and out, and you'll have to take your Allen key and tighten them up. If you tighten it up really tight and you go to test it and pull your trigger, you'll notice that this thing just kind of stays up in here even after you like engage with the clutch. Like, it just won't want to fall down because it's too tight. There's like a really fine line on, you don't want it so loose that you actually have like left and right wobble and flex to it, but you also don't want it so tight that it can't move. I've got an example over here of what these pins look like. So this side is a used one, and the right side over here is a brand new one. You can see on the left side how it has, you can see the bare metal where it's shaved down the painted part. That roller pin, which sits right here, that the actual button's attached to, over time, whether it be from this piece of metal getting loose wobbling back and forth, or just being a softer piece of metal than that pin, it cuts and wears a giant groove into this piece. And once it starts cutting and grooving into that piece, your button will never stay again. No matter what you do, it's just time to replace it. So you gotta call Cajun and get a new replacement one, and then screw it in, you're good to go. Reel's fixed. So if you have problems with the button not staying down, that's how you fix that. As far as coming in here to the rest of the reel, once you've gotten this far, your rubber roller will pull straight out. If you're having problems with the line engaging and like actually reeling up, pay close attention to your rubber roller. This should be flat, smooth rubber all the way across. If you can tell in the video, I've got 2 distinct lines on there, and that's where people have shot the reel and it's just going to reel back in, and it's stuck in the mud and it's not coming in, and these reels have no drag on them. So if you just sit there and continually reel against the roller with no line coming in, you start burning a groove into the roller. So once you get a pretty good deep groove in that roller, the line will fall in that groove, and this plastic roller up here can't push down against the line because it's hidden in that groove, and you'll sit there, if you're not stuck, and you'll be reeling like, man, this reel isn't coming in. It's because your rubber roller is basically worn out, and you're going to need a new one of those. I like to put some grease on the gears, so there's brass gears right here, and it goes down to here. Just dab a little bit of grease, like lithium grease, whatever your preferred flavor is. But I get a alcohol wipe, clean all this stuff up around here. It gets dirt and grime in it from throughout the season for fishing, but you can just kind of wipe it down, put a little bit of grease back in there. This front piece is your like guide. Think of this as like your fishing rod, like where your line goes through your eyelet guides. This does kind of the same thing, and this piece will also adjust up and down. So just like where the bottle goes, you have up and down movement. Try to get that line to come through there perfectly straight. This one will do the same thing. So if I loosen this on both sides, you can see, I'll show you how it goes up and down. It's actually got a little slot gauge right here, and it's super little bit of movement, but it does have some up and down movement. And if you could tell, watch right in here how that's sticking out past the red piece. If I push up, it's now flush. So this one likes to be all the way in the up position. So if you can imagine this roller sitting in here, and with that piece all the way down, now it's sticking into that roller. So whenever I go to turn it, it's going to feel like it's locked up and it's got resistance against it. And that's because this piece of black plastic right in here is pushing down against the rubber, keep it from turning. This front piece, I don't really have problems with this one coming loose. It seems to hold pretty good. It's happened a few times, but it's very rare compared to where the bottle attaches. But just note, if you have problems with your reel handle, feeling like, man, this thing's locked up, it's just not reeling in, chances are it could be this out of adjustment. So that is the major things to look for when it comes to this reel. Over here on this side, if your handle starts coming loose, so you get a little bit of slop in there right now, and that's pretty much normal with these reels. But if your handle's comes loose, it's got a set screw, and you can unscrew that screw, and this red piece pops straight off, and then you just take a socket wrench and you can tighten down this nut here to suck that back up tight, put the red piece back on to basically indent it, and then put your set screw back in. Those rarely ever fall out. You normally don't ever have any issues with those. Like I said, the main thing is your 4 screws over here. Those you lose constantly, but it doesn't really seem to affect the usage of the reel. One other thing to notice is whenever you're taking this roller in and out, it's a good thing to have your button pushed down and in an up position, or else you're going to fight it like I did a second ago. That just allows your button to go free and in and out. So once you've lubed it up, cleaned it up, done whatever you want to do with it, go ahead and put your roller back in and make sure that button is in the up position. If you have it in a down position, let's see if I can get it reset here. Sometimes this piece of metal will get in the way whenever you're trying to put this cover back on and not allow it to get lined up correctly. So it's easiest just to leave it, go ahead and leave it in the up position, and then just be careful not to trip the trigger. But we're gonna set that back on there like this, and go ahead and run all 4 screws down. You will strip these things out very easily, so where you might think if they fall out, let's just put the He-Man strength to them and tighten them down, well, they're just going to start falling out more if you do that, because you're going to end up stripping them out. So just gently snug them, and unless you want to glue them, just one of those things you have to live with. But it really doesn't seem to affect it. As long as you have at least a screw in there, it usually holds. Okay, I've got all 4 of these just about tightened up. So at this stage, before I put the brake back on, I'm going to function test it. You can look straight down inside and see that trigger latch, and make sure it actually engages and sticks up there when you push the button down. Make sure the reel feels smooth, that we've got our up and down adjustment on the front and the back reel set where it's not rubbing anywhere. So that feels good. So I think we're good to go ahead and put the additional brake back on. So this thing just has springs on it. Just kind of push it down in there, sandwich it to get your holes lined up. And we're going to put our 2 Allen screws back in here that hold this thing. These ones you can snug up pretty good. They're a little bit beefier of a screw, and it's going into a metal housing. I guess if you're not careful, you could strip it too, but it's not going to be nearly as easy as those 4 little screws on the plate cover. So we got that back in. I'm just going to check the spring action and make sure it actually recoils like it's supposed to. To get the bottle back on, super easy. Push your button down, open your bail. You're going to grab your line and feed it through your bail. Sometimes you have to wet it to actually get the feed through correctly. But once you get it through, you want to kind of just take the slack out of your line. Like this, kind of make sure there's not a big loop in the way, and then just thread your bottle on. So do one more function test now that we got everything put back together. Make sure, push it down, line's going to come out, click it over, line should reel up. So that's pretty much the overview. And typical GoPro gets too hot where you're filming, so you got to start the video recording over. But that's the Winch Pro in a nutshell and the breakdown. of what everything looks like, how to fix stuff. If you have questions, comments, concerns, comment down below. I'll answer anything I can to try to help you. If you manage to break something that I didn't and can't figure out how to fix it, let me know what it is, and I'll see if I can recreate it and help you out. But thanks for watching. Make sure to follow, subscribe us at Firehouse Bowfishing, and see you guys on the water.